Hello everyone, myself Jeel Khatiwala, and I am currently working as an intern trainee at CyberSapiens United LLP. I would like to welcome you all for my presentation on the broken access control vulnerability. And the broken access control vulnerability is one of the vulnerability which is listed in the OS top 10 list from almost last 4 to 5 years. So let's begin with the presentation. So first, let's see the content table. What are the content we are going to see? We are going to see in this presentation. So firstly it's going to be what is the broken access control vulnerability, and what are other aspects and causes for the same, and then consequences of the broken access vulnerability, real-time incident and real-time examples, and then demonstration of broken access vulnerability, broken access control scenarios based on the few labs, and then preventive measures, and summary like what should we need to be prepared, and what which we should take care about, and last point is going to be what are the key takeaways. So let's start with the broken access vulnerability. So first, what is broken access vulnerability? So in the simple terms, we can say that something that user is restricted to access are able to access by doing some of the security, by following some of the security measures and procedure to get over the get over specific controls over their systems. Let's say if it is admin panel or something, some of the premium feature. And what the actual definition says that broken access control vulnerability is type of security flow that allows an unauthorized user access to restricted resources. By exploiting this vulnerability, attacker can use the standard security procedure and gain unauthorized access to sensitive information in the system. So let's say take an example of Spotify, which is a music listening platform. So if you are a user, or if you are a normal user who is using a Spotify, and also Spotify for some time, and as a free user, but you know someone who is using the premium user, and you and somehow with the free user account you are able to access the user premium user facilities and accomplishment. Then it is going to be vulnerability of the broken access control vulnerability, because you are able to see the premium feature without any cost or anything, paying anything extra. So let's talk about why this is a problem. So firstly, attackers can gain access to confidential or sensitive data, alter or delete it, or modify the data as well, and then even take control of the application and underlying the system. Like they take over the system admin panel, and sometimes they're shutting it down or making harm, or also they do it for some specific purpose, like do some specific task for their personal stuff. So these are the problem for this specific vulnerability. And then what are the common causes? So there are majorly four common causes. First is the poor system design. So initial and day-to-day development should be strong system design according to the security purpose. And then weak or default passwords. This is one of the like these things is one of the way where attacker or security researcher can gain the access by using brute forcing of default or weak password list, and an outdated access policy. So obviously updated things are always prioritized in term of the tech security. And then inadequate security testing. Basically sometimes company don't prioritize to use security researcher or penetration tester to test their system, and as a consequences they have to face some of the uh, data breaches, or some system takeover, or sometimes it results in the shutting down of their own organization. So now go to the next part, which is the type. What are the types are included in the broken access control vulnerability? So let's start with the first type, which is horizontal privilege escalation. So it occurs when the user gains access to resource and functions that they are and they should not have permission to access at some same level of privilege. For to understand this, I'll say one example. Say, if you are having a same account, like you and your friend having a same account, and you are trying to access your friend's account by using your account only, like doing some manipulation in your account request, and then send it to the server. And if you're getting the response successfully, then it is going to be a horizontal privilege escalation, because like you are able to see your friend's account information by doing some minor manipulation in the request. Now let's go to the another part, which is vertical privilege escalation. So this vulnerability occurs when a user this type occurs when user gain access to resource and function that they should not permission to access at a higher level. For example, admin page. Normal user don't have access to admin pages and their powers or controls admin pages have. But by using default password, brute force attack, or something like that, they are able to find the admin page and also bypass the admin page, then get the access for all the admin rights, and it is known as a vertical privilege escalation. Now go to the direct object reference. When a user is able to directly access the resource or the object without proper authorization, such as modifying the URL. So basically, sometimes what happens, a new developer or trainee developer, most of the organization use GitHub for their developing purpose, like sharing the source code on the private level by creating a repository and all. So what happens sometimes, they are careless or unknowingly they left the files or directory exposed by manipulating the URL and brute forcing the URL. For example, when I try to do SQL injection. So what happens? They said this file is, or this config file is not available, or your input is not valid to this config file. So by this, they get the directory of that config file, and they are able to access that data. So this consists and included in the direct object reference type of vulnerability in the broken access control. Now, next is a insecure direct object reference. It occurs when a user can access a resource or object directly without authentication by guessing or predicting the identifier of the object. So basically, in simple term, I would say every user have their own user ID, customer ID, or something like other customer records. So what happens when I log in as a user A is equal to 1. So user A is there, like A is there one of the column where user data is stored, and A is my user ID. But when I change 1 to 2 and I'm able to see other user data, then it fall into the insecure direct object reference. And then there is missing function level access control. It occurs when a user can access a function or operation that they should not able to perform due to lack of the proper authorization check. So basically, like modifying, like doing, for example, modifying access method and perform or restricted actions, access user logs or premium accounts. As I said earlier that about that Spotify example, where I'm able to use the premium feature by without any cost, just by manipulating the request and response of the target. And then next is a broken access control in file or directory permission. So basically, it occurs when file or directory permissions are not properly set, allowing unauthorized access to sensitive data. For example, finding config file or admin page through robot.txt. Robot.txt is something that we always look up to for the broken access control vulnerability, because most of the time that robot.txt consists of all the files available on that server or the website. So this can one of the easiest way and also smoothest way to find the different type of the files or files page on directory of the website. So basically it falls like robot.txt having administrator page or config file page, and we are able to access and see that this is the configuration was used while developing this, and these are currently in the use. So this is directly fall into the file or directory, like broken access control in file or directory permissions. And then there is a last type, broken access control in session management. So basically it occurs when attacker can hijack users sessions and gain unauthorized access to sensitive information and functionality. So basically, there are many of the attacks which help researchers and attacker to get the session ID or data like session ID stolen, get the access by, like, sometimes what happen, same session ID used by the server for specific user. This should not happen in the real time case. Otherwise, whenever any of the session ID will be stolen, they have to compromise that particular user account. So this occurs when session ID has been taken over by some other people, like attackers or researchers. So now let's see what are the consequences of broken access control. So firstly, data breaches. Data breaches is basically unauthorized access to sensitive data, and then resulting in a loss of the reputation and customer trust, and hefty fines. Like sometimes what happens, some their database informations are leaked, and all the data of the user are selling on the dark web. So there is one of the data breach. One of the consequences, which is data breach, is all, and that impacts specifically impact known as a data corruption or loss for these consequences. And then there is a financial loss. Basically financial loss leads to unauthorized financial transaction, theft or fraud, and also causing significant financial impact on the organization. For example, PCI DSS is not implemented or not properly implemented. This can also be causes in the financial loss, like attacker are able to go in the man in the middle, like doing man in the middle attack or some phishing attack to get the credit card or information of the employee of their company, employee of the organization. And this may also result in financial loss, and this impact known as financial impact. And then there is a regulatory compliances. Basically, non-compliances with regulations can result in server consequences. Breaching access control regulation can result in legal sanction and penalties. So basically, what it means that every government have their own rules and policies for all the digital platforms and their publications. So sometimes what happens when data are compromised or breached by the organization because of their carelessness and their laziness, like hiring security researchers or team. And this result in firstly losing the data and financial loss. But and then they have to face the government on the legal way, that why this was happened, and what are the reasons. And they also have to they also are fined for this particular, and they have to as a consequences they have to face some penalties as well. It is also known as business downtime. And then last but not least, there the damage to reputation. Obviously, whenever you are facing any of the cyber attacks, and which is successfully implemented or completed on your organizations, it will directly impact your reputation because of your carelessness and not showing interest and interest towards security and their team. So basically, there are like social media and all other platform where your reputation can be down, and also it also directly affect your stock market thing as well. And then there is a real time incident, like what actually happened in the real time whenever this vulnerability occurs. So first is the threat actor gain access. With privilege access, the attacker can now make his or way to from one machine to another and gain access to sensitive data, financial information, and other proprietary information, like getting access to the like hosting machine or something connected to the host directly, like directly give them access to all the servers and all over the organization. So these things happen in the broken access control in the real time. For example, and in the broken like in the broken access control, first they gain the access and complete their goal or a specific goal or target they are doing. They are actually doing for that specific goal and target to achieve by doing threat actor gain access. And then the another one is exfiltration. Exfiltration is basically attacker has now gain access to system and exfiltration the sensitive and the proprietary data. The attack impacts the reputation and bottom line of the organization. So basically what happens whenever they in this exfiltration part, whenever they get the access to the user, they remove the sensitive data and a file of the organization for like down their reputation or doing some personal level harm to the organization. They delete some config files or the sensitive files from the in this exfiltration part. And then last one is the data breach. So after that it's all result in the data breach where the sensitive data of the target organization is now available to higher bidder on the dark web, in which an organization gang intend to sell the data to highest bidder, which leads to more attack on the organization. So basically, data leak results in the sale on the dark web or encrypted by the malware, encrypted by the ransomware in the organization and asking for some of the amount. Either like there are two consequences for this data for this part where one is data is encrypted and asking for some amount to decrypt the data. And then there is another which is mentioned here also, that selling the data on the dark web. So let's see some real life example occurred in the past time based on the broken access control vulnerability. So first one is a Capital One data breach. So in 2019, the Capital One data breach exposed the personal information of over 100 million customer, including social security number, bank account number, and credit card application. Then Uber data breach. Uber revealed that hackers compromised the personal information of the 57 million users and 6 lakhs driver, including names, emails, address, and the phone number. This happened in 2019, and another breach was occurred in the 2023 only, where the admin panel was the compromise of the Uber by phishing one of their employees account and compromise their whole country. But for in the legal way, they got all the controls back by the time. And then last one is the Medtronic insulin pump hack. The cybersecurity researcher discovered that certain Medtronic insulin pumps were susceptible to wireless hacking, allowing attackers to control and manipulate the pump. So these are the three real life examples of broken access control. Now, see, there are three different labs which we are going to present for example, like how broken access control vulnerability look like, and how we can gain the access of different type of platforms. So let's all the three labs. So I'll go to the Kali Linux, and first we'll go with the first lab. So first lab is admin functionality access. So we have what the main task is, we have to get the access of the admin panel and delete the user Carlos. So let's start with the lab. So the lab is going to be like quite easy, as I mentioned earlier about that robot.txt file. So what we have to do is we have to go for the robot.txt file first and find the admin page. So we'll say, okay, so as you can see that we can see an administrator panel which is joined in this specific web page. So we'll copy this and replace it with the robot.txt file and see how their admin panel look like. So when we used it, we are directly into the admin panel, and what main task is we have to delete the Carlos. So Carlos has been deleted and the lab has been solved. Now go to the second lab. Second lab is basically unprotected admin functionality with unpredictable URL. So the lab is unprotected admin panel. It is located in the unpredictable location, but the location is disclosed somewhere in the application. So solve the lab by accessing admin panel and using and delete the user Carlos. So basically, the in this lab, the admin panel was secretly put it in the JavaScript of the lab. So now let's solve the lab. Okay, so when we go or like when we are on the home page, we'll see we can go the JavaScript of the home page. So let's go to the developer tool. So we will go to the developer tool and see inspector. So in the inspector, we'll directly search admin. If you can see that there are four admin was found in the JavaScript. So when we go through all of them, we'll see that in the last one, there is some mention about the admin panel. So when we observe that particular code, we can see that there is a href. Href basically used in the HTML and JavaScript as a linking to the next page. So href and they have mentioned this page like this is the only page was linked to the this particular page. So we'll copy this and now we'll try this admin page and let's see what happens. Yeah, as you can see now we have also got the access for the admin panel by from finding from the JavaScript as well, and we'll simply delete this Carlos user and our lab will be solved. And then there is a last which is little high level of the lab where user ID controlled by the request parameter with the password disclosure. So in this lab we have to retrieve the administrator password and then use it to delete Carlos. And also they have given us the credential of winner and Peter to log in. So now let's go to the login section. Okay, so we are on the home page now. We'll try to log in. So we'll use that winner and Peter to get the get login, and then now we'll start our Bob shoot to capture the request. So we'll start the Bob shoot and inspection on, and then we'll just reload the page. So while reloading, okay, so while reloading, we can see that we have captured the request, and then okay, now we'll go to the my account section where we can find our information. Okay, so in the going for the account section, we can see that we have captured the request of ID winner. So we'll replace simply this winner to the administrator, and we'll simply forward this request. So as you can see that while forwarding the request, we'll able to see the password what is going to be a password. Okay, so we'll simply change this password. We'll update the password. If you can see that we have changed the password of the administrator. Now we'll go to the and now we'll try to log in by the administrator. Now let's see are we are able to log in or not. So they said we are not able to log in. So now we'll try again. Like how okay, I guess we are facing some issue here. Let me Okay, we have mistakenly changed the password of the winner account. So now, okay, we'll try to capture the request again and see what happened. So again, I'll change the winner to the administrator. Okay, and we'll try to, let's see if we are able to check the intercept. Okay. Okay, so yeah, here you can see that the password of the admin page while intercepting it. So simply copy this password and then we'll log out from this account and we'll try to log in as an administrator. And here you can see we have successfully logged in as an admin, administrator, and we can go to directly admin panel and delete the Carlos. So here, we are done with the lab and we have solved the lab. Now go back to the presentation. Okay, so we'll go to the that specific page and then okay, so here is the page, and then what are the preventative measures like demystifying the scenario? What we can do to prevent this broken access control vulnerability? The first step is going to be identify the risk, perform the risk assessment to identify potential access control vulnerabilities, especially those associated with the sensitive data. So basically, checking of the compliance is updation of the technology and the all type of the data like framework we are using for the specific application are going to be included in the identifying all type of the risk for their application and test all the possibilities of the possibilities of the security breach occur, and then there is a security testing which is one of the most necessary part of any of the digitalized organization where security testing done by the security researchers known as a penetration tester. Security testing can be done by the penetration tester, and security implementation can be done by the security operation center special analyst. So these are the two major difference. And in the security testing, they have to go try every single possible way to hack their system or finding the vulnerability or the system, so that in the future any of the security researcher or hacker will not able to not able to get into their system easily, and also it also make them secure before the any of the bad consequences occurs. And then implement the access policy. Basically, NIST, National Institute of Standard and Technology, have published some access policies which needs to be implemented in all the targets for the security purpose. And then there is a another one is a stay updated. So updated with the technologies and policies is very important for any of the digitalized target, because by the updation they always try to patch as much as bugs and security patch, so that their user don't have to face any of the security or bug related compromises. So these four are the preventative measure specifically for the broken access control vulnerability. And then there is a summary like what we need to prepare for while going or working in the organization. So obviously it is going to be identify the risk, and then proper testing, continuous monitoring, which is done by the SOC analyst, and then better safe than sorry. Basically implement and testing in the earlier phases or in the implementation phase, so that on the later side they don't have to regret and feel sorry that we have been compromised, or we need to pay this much amount to get back our access in the organization. So these things needs to be all things that needs to be prepare before any of the software or the web application go for publications. So these things needs to be in the developer phase and testing phase only. And then their last slide is going to be what are the key takeaway for from this presentation. So first is going to be a horizontal privilege escalation. It is like some people think that it is not a big vulnerability, but this can leads to be big bug. Like recently, there was a bug found on the Instagram that if the people are able to down anyone's account without their prior notification, or and also there is a bug going on the YouTube where people are where hackers are some of the recent hackers are getting this without doing any of the phishing or directly recon like active recon on the target or the user. So these are these are resulting in the like from the horizon privilege escalation to vertical privilege escalation, like getting the user's account. And then there is a testing. So testing is important for every single digital platform for for the security, like implementing regular testing for not only for the publishing or implementing the or developing the new product, but also on the old products, because by the time their updation are getting expired, and hackers are getting new way every single day to hack or compromise the systems. So testing is a necessary for all the organization. And then safeguard to implement security measures to protect this vulnerability, like implement the ISO 27001 policy for the like website and their security. And then CLF certificate for their like data encryption things. And then there is a PCI DSS policy for payment gateway, securely payment gateway. So these things, and there are many more policies and the technologies needs to be implemented for the security purpose. And then there is a continuous monitoring, like what are the requests coming on the servers, and what other activities are occurring. So those logs need to be monitored, like if there is any something suspicious occurs on their logs or the system, they will get they will get the alert. Like there are two majorly used technology, or maybe term used by the organization, that security like intrusion prevention system and intrusion detection system. So these two terms used by almost all the SOC analysts who are monitoring the logs of their organization at sitting in the SOC center. So I'd like to end my presentation here. Thank you, everyone.